Alright, it is time to go. Hello and welcome to instructional technology stuff starring Mr. Howard. How's everybody doing today? Looks like we got 3 folks turning in. I am being rude. I'm chewing gum. I can't talk and chew gum. That's preposterous. Here we go, folks. Today we are going to be talking about Google Classroom. I'm really excited about that because I know a lot of you guys are, the feedback that I've heard is that people don't like super love this new Google Classroom thing that's going on. So I thought we'd take today's session and we would talk a little bit about that and some of those new features and clear up some confusion and show you how some of that stuff is going to work. So if you have made it to our, let me pull up the desktop here. If you've made it to our training page on the EdTech website, if you want to, Fulton Teachers, if you want to make sure that you just sign in, go ahead and click FPS Teachers, please sign in. Go ahead and click there and make sure you can access Google Classroom so you'll be able to do some of the stuff that we talk about today. It's going to serve you best. Put some of the stuff to practice while we are talking about it on here. Oh, we got an announcement over here.
More if you're in the
Sorry about that. I muted the microphone because you probably didn't want to hear the middle school announcement there. So while you guys are getting signed in and stuff, oh, here's something. If you're here and sign in today, I have a cool swag thing. So I just got an order of these stickers. So Sticker Mule had a $1. You could get 10 of these things. So I wanted to check them out because I'm thinking about doing stickers instead of the buttons for badges. So if you are interested in that, if you're here today and we only got 3 people, let me know and I will send you one of these. And these are cool to put on your computer, like your Chromebook, laptop. I will put one on my MacBook and my Chromebook. They're just kind of fun, cool little things to have. But yeah, if you're a person that is into the badges and you think that having a sticker like this would be a little more interesting or a little more cool than having the pins that I send out now, let me know. I don't get a whole ton of feedback on those things, so it'd be good to, that'll be good information. And yeah, if you are here and you sign in, I'll shoot you one of these cool stickers and you can slap that on your computer. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. So today's tool is going to be Google Classroom, and if you want to follow along, you can click on this link right here with me, or you can just watch. So this is going to be your Google Classroom stuff, and then let's go ahead and open up this presentation here as well. And the main thing that I want to do with this presentation is talk a little bit about some of the new features that were thrusted out upon everyone back in August. So I'll say I was surprised as anyone with all of these updates that came out for Google Classroom. This actually happened the day before I started with technology training for new teachers and first-year teachers to the new teachers of the district, first-year teachers. I opened up Google Classroom and all this stuff was brand new, and I knew it was coming, but I didn't know the date. So I was caught off guard in having training and stuff for this done and ready to go. So I've had about a month, a little more than a month, to play around with this stuff, and I'm sure some of you guys have had the same opportunity. So really what we're going to start off with on Google Classroom updates is talking about what some of these updates are, and this will be a little bit dry, but I don't know that everybody takes time to read that documentation when it comes out. So that's what we'll do first, and then we'll move into showing you off how some of this stuff works. I'll talk a little bit about it, and then we will have a questions and answers session here at the end if you are confused or have questions or need to know more about some of the stuff. All right, so let's get started. The biggest thing with Classroom, the biggest update is the Classwork page. So and if you are a person that got into the new Classroom updates, I think before August 7th, You might not even have this yet. You'll have to go in and turn it on, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. But the big change with the classroom this year is the Classwork page, and how that's kind of replacing the stream, and how they've kind of worked some of the stuff from the About tab into that. So I know that's a big shock for some of you guys who the old stream worked a lot differently than the new stream does, and the new stream is kind of not great. So the Classwork place is where you're going to be spending most of your time posting assignments, questions, things like that. And then the other thing is topics are a little more streamlined now. There was an update a couple years ago with topics where they were kind of optional, but now if you don't use topics, your Classwork page becomes a huge mess. So that's something that you'll want to know, you want to be doing like from the start with your Google Classroom. The new Google Classroom has a grading tool that's embedded right into it, and you can switch grades, you can edit student submissions, add comments, all that stuff's in one convenient place. Now the old Google Classroom had the grading stuff was integrated as well, but it was a little bit more cumbersome to use. So now you can go in and save what's called common feedback in a comment bank. So you don't have to type individual feedback. If you give similar feedback on similar projects to students, you can save like chunks of that feedback in a bank, and then issue those to students while you are going through on grades. The people page, so where you used to have a student tab, now you have a people page, and this will be where all of the class members are, as well as teachers, and you can add multiple teachers now as well. And this is where you'll do your inviting. This is where your classroom code will be. You go in and change students out if they move away, or add students later on in the year if they move in. And then the other thing is, this is where you will manage guardians. So with Google Classroom, you get the guardian reports option. So one thing that you can do is go into your people page now and turn on those guardian reports if you have ever used those before. Let's talk about settings. This is where you'll be able to edit things like your class description. Whenever you create a class the first time, it will ask you to do some description stuff, so you put that on there. But you can come back to your settings page and change it later. So like, I don't know if you ever want to change the name of your class, if that's something you're into, whatever. Manage what goes out in a guardian summary, and then control the settings that are on your stream. So like, what are the things that you want to happen in the stream, how often you want that stuff to post, blah blah blah, etc etc. Settings. Copy a class. If you want to take the stuff that you've already used, and this is something that teachers have asked me about before, and it is something that you could do before, but it was a kind of a pain. But what you can do now is literally copy topics and classwork from an old class into a new one. So that just means I did an assignment in a class last year, and I want to use the same assignment here. You can go back, dig into that class from your new class, and pull stuff into it. And I know we've had teachers ask things like, can I just remove all the students from my current class and add new students to it? No, you still don't want to do that. But if you do want to reuse some of the resources or assignments that you've used before, you would want to do that by copying stuff from an older class. You can change grade point values when creating or editing assignments or questions. So that's just a streamlined thing that you used to have to go into a different place to do it, and that's all in one place now. You can see updates, so as things happen in the classroom, such as things getting turned in, stuff getting a grade, there will be updates sent into the stream for those students. They will see that stuff happening when it happens in your Google Classroom. Okay, so those are the big updates. There's other things worth knowing about the new Google Classroom that you know, we might just want to show off some of this stuff. So I'm actually going to go into a Google Classroom now. So I'm back on my Classroom tab here, and this is just a kind of a demo class I use. I don't have any students, so I won't be able to like show you everything, but from your dashboard you'll probably want to come in here, and again, some people won't have access to that Classwork tab. So any classes that were created before August 7th update went out, so if you had a class before August 7th for this school year, you will not have this Classwork tab here. And if you want to add that to a current class, you have to come down here to this question mark in the bottom left. It's kind of hard to see, so I don't know if you see the mouse wiggling around over there. And you click there. You might have add Classwork Page. Mine says remove, obviously, because my class already existed, and I had this already, so it's not going to ask me to add it again. But if you don't have it, this will be the thing that you'll do. Another thing I'm going to throw out here, because people are asking for features and they'll ask me like, hey, can I roll backwards? Can I get old features that were here? Can I want something to change? Google listens to your feedback, and if there's a feature missing that you need, or if something is hard to use and you don't get what you need from the app, click this question mark sometime and then click send feedback. And right from here, you can put a screenshot and you can tell the Google Classroom development team whatever you want about Google Classroom. So one thing that came up a couple weeks ago was somebody wanted to, in the Classwork tab, be able to bump stuff up to the top. In the old Google Classroom, you used to be able to bump something up to the top. You can't do that in the new one. You can move stuff around, but you can't pin something up to the top or jump something all the way up to the top. So that's like a feature that it should have, in my opinion. So I immediately went in here, sent feedback, typed that up, and I asked that teacher to do the same. And that's where a lot of these features come from, is that they come directly from feedback left by users. So if there's something that you need or want to be happening with Google Classroom, I highly recommend you do that. Okay, so let's talk about this new Google Classroom. I actually want to start over here with the People tab. So I think that this is a little bit confusing and annoying, because instead of just seeing students here, you're going to have all the people in the classroom. So you'll have a section for teachers and you'll have a section for students, and this is also where you're going to manage like guardians and stuff. So like this is where you add people to your class now. So if you want to add students, you click on people, which I know when I think of students, I don't necessarily think of people. I don't know if I'm not human or what, but you want to click over here, people. That's where your students are, and then you click plus, and that's where you add your students like normal. You can get your invite code, which is sit here, or you can invite them by email. Just give me your invite code. You know how to add kids to your classroom in Google. The other thing is adding teachers. Same kind of thing. You're going to hit plus up here and add. And if there's, you have somebody else in your room enough that they need to have access, this is also good if you need somebody who can help you out. If you ever have an emergency sub, make them a teacher in your class so they can upload stuff to your Google Classroom if they ever need to. That's just kind of a little pro tip there.
Ethan Moore, if you're
Sorry.
in the building, please.
Can't buy announcements that good, friends. You're really getting the knowledge around over here. Okay, so there's people for you. Now, the other thing that is frustrating is that if you look up here at the top, there's no About tab anymore. The About tab is actually moved over here, and it's not a tab anymore. And it's also not the same. This is crap and junk compared to what it was before. So if you click on this, this is all it gives you. It gives you your join code, it tells you your class information, and that's it. And yeah, you can still this is the easiest way to share your class code is in the About tab. But all of the features that I really liked about this before, like where we would post year-round resources, where if you had common websites students need to have access to all the time, the About tab was a really great place to put that stuff. Since that no longer exists, you will not be able to put stuff there. You'll see that if you click on the About tab, there is no way to edit anything that's here. So we'll manage that through the classwork, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. But yes, About tab is gone. I think that's very annoying. They have kind of rolled in a new feature with classwork that can kind of fix that. Another thing that's really cool, and I'm going to click on the Classwork tab finally, because this is where you are going to end up spending most of your time inside of Google Classroom, is in the Classwork tab. Not the stream. Like I said, the stream's a big fat mess. Classwork is where all the big stuff's going to happen. So things are pretty much have to be organized through topics now. So before, topics were kind of optional, and they still are, but the only problem is if you don't give something a topic, it's just going to be a gigantic pile of assignments and questions and announcements and everything else in the world, and it's going to be hard to ever navigate to find anything. So The new look of the Classwork section is focused on dividing this into topics, and they appear in bold and really big, and it's really easy to find everything. So if you look at mine, I have reading, a theme unit, important writing, busy work and worksheets, and you could have as many topics as you want. There's like no limit to that. So let me sell topics for you for a little bit, because I feel like people didn't really use these back when they were more of an optional thing. If you haven't been making use of them, you should start doing that now. The organization works best when you have your posts divided into topics, and if you aren't already using topics, just start doing it now, because it just makes all of this going to be so much easier. And now, since the About tab is gone and you can't add common resources, it makes it easy to use what is now called classroom materials. So up here at the top, and classroom materials will be what where you put common resources, such as you see here, I have a syllabus, approved reading and research list, all that kind of stuff. So if you click create, one of your options is now going to be material. So a material is not something that is an assignment, and it's also not an announcement. It's just a common resource that is going to fit somewhere into those topics that students will then have access to. So if you click material, and let's say I want to do second semester reading list. So this is something my students are going to want to have access to throughout the school year, not necessarily for during whenever I'm doing a 2-week unit or whatever. So I'm just going to leave this as no topic, and then I could attach a file. I don't actually have a file for this or whatever, but I would come in here and upload it or attach it from Drive or whatever, and then I click post. And then what you'll see happens is up here at the top, it's just going to join that material in a common, easily accessible place. So don't add a topic to it, just make it a material, stick it up here at the top, and that's going to replace what you did with your About tab before. You won't be able to put, you won't have a distinct place like the About tab to put all those links and resource materials and stuff, but putting a material without a topic will be a good simulation of being able to do that. Okay, so while we're here, let's look a little bit at some of the stuff on the Classwork tab. Whenever you create something, you're always going to start with this create button, but then you'll see all of your options. So first, you're going to have assignment. So anytime you have something a student needs to complete, an assignment, reading, got a quiz, like whatever, click assignment and come in here and fill all the information like normally. So I might say reading response, and then instructions would be read pages 1 through 30, answer questions, okay, and give it a due date, and then you'll have the option to add a topic. So this is where you need to start thinking about, whenever you assign something, where this is going to go and where students are going to find it. So it'll have all of your current topics that already exist, unless you don't have the topic. And that doesn't mean you can't post this. You can just click create topic. So maybe this is going to be research report, and then I'll click assign. So that assignment is going to jump down here to research report, and then for the next 2 weeks, anything that needs to be part of the research report, I'm just going to, whenever I create, I'm going to make sure that I use that topic when I finish off the assignment or whatever. Okay. If you want to make a topic first, so let's say I want to go ahead and upload an entire unit's worth of readings and assignments. I want to put them all up there now so students know exactly where they are and they know how to access them. You can just go in here and create the topic first. Here we'll do Ocean Report, add. So now anything that I need to do from Ocean Report from now on, I'll just post in there. So that's how topics work. Just think of them as like a file cabinet for anything that you're going to do during a given unit. It's going to be an easy way to organize and save you a ton of time in doing things that way. And it'll be easier for students to find things that way too. But, so I just want to show you like a distinction here. I'm going to click on stream, and you'll kind of see what I mean, how stream becomes useless. So all this stuff just posts as it happens. So think of like the way that like Facebook or Instagram used to be back when it made sense. You would see posts chronologically. That's exactly how the stream works. Now, students don't always want or need to access things chronologically. They might need to look at a series of things and find them in a way that makes sense. So they know that they have an assignment due for research report. It's going to be a lot easier for them to click on classwork and scroll down through the research report than it is to look through the stream forever in a day until they find the thing that they're looking for. So classwork and topics are all designed just to give you a way to organize your stuff in your classroom a little bit better, and make it easier, and ultimately make it easier for students. That's the whole point of this whole thing. Okay. If I'm ever going too fast, or if you have questions, you can type it directly into the chat box on YouTube, and I'll get it there that way. That would be a great way if you have questions. And I tend to talk fast and go faster, so that's a good way to just say, "Hey, shut up, Josh, for a second. I need to ask you something." All right. So while we're here on the classwork, a couple other things. If you're not a person that's super familiar with Google Classroom, there's some neat things you can do here with this. The first, whenever you create, you have assignment, obviously, and whenever I was still in the classroom, whenever I used assignments, I would always go into Google. Let me find a assignment that I used back in those days. And you just kind of, what you want to do is pre-make your assignments and then share the, okay, here's one. So, turkeys, add that one. And then, so what all I did in this assignment, and I can show it to you, is this is a Google Doc that's got the reading that I had students working on, and then I had scanned in some of the nonfiction text feature stuff. But then when you get to the bottom, I have, these are tables set up with places for questions and answers. So I pretty much just create a digital worksheet in Docs out of what was in our textbook, and then I have that worksheet ready to go. I add that to my Google Classroom. Now, this is the thing here. I'm going to go ahead and say shared reading week of November. Having flashbacks to teaching. Okay, and topics, I'll just have it be in reading. And then here's the thing, though. Here's the critical thing. If you're going to create an assignment like this, over here where it says students can view file, switch this to make a copy for each student, because what that does is, instead of either giving your original file where students can edit it directly, or making a student make their own copy and then turn it in individually, you can make a copy for each student, assign it, and from that point on, if you go click on this assignment, you can look at that student's work while they're working on it. You'll know exactly what their progress is on that particular assignment, and you'll be able to keep up with it a little bit better while they're working on it. And so that means I'm going to call them up to my desk and say, hey, I was looking at your reading and I noticed that you weren't getting anything done on it. So that's just a pro tip, and that's always been a feature in Google Classroom, but I think it's a good time. It's always a good idea to reiterate the importance of using, like, pre-making those assignments and then using make a copy for every student, because then you can literally go in and look at work while students are working on it. Okay. Kind of short on time here, although I haven't seen any questions yet, so I'm not worrying too much about it. The next thing would be this new class settings tab up here. So if you go to settings, you can just control a few useful things here. The first being, you can change your name of your class and subject and all that kind of stuff, which you probably won't ever do. It's fine anyway. You got your class code here, but then you have stuff like in the stream. Do you want students to be able to post stuff? Like, think of your Facebook wall. Do you want people to be able to post things to you, or do you want to limit so you're the only person who's going to be posting things? There would be a good time if a student finds a good resource and they want to share that with everybody. Without having to email that directly to you, they could post things directly to the stream. So there's a lot of ways that you can use these share settings to control the flow of information on there. You might not have a class that you really trust with that responsibility. I know that happens. So that'll be one of those times when you'll kind of dial that back a little bit. and maybe only let them comment. So anytime you post something, a student can comment on it. Or maybe you want to only post and you want to only comment, and you don't want students necessarily to have that freedom in your class. So I know there's always different reasons and rationales for why you want to change those, and nobody's going to ask you any questions. Do whatever works for your class. Deleted items. So you can make it where you can delete stuff and students can see things you've deleted, or they disappear forever. The big thing that I want to talk about on the settings tab is going to be your Guardian summaries. So if you turn these on, you will, so this says Guardians receive a summary of their students' work and class announcements, see example. So you could click here and you'll see kind of what the parent would see. They'll see the homework that didn't get done, all that kind of stuff. And feel free to go in here and view this if you want. But this is just where you turn it on. So I turn this on and I add class. So automatically, after you have gone into your people page and you have added Guardians by sharing those email addresses, your parents are going to periodically get these summaries. I think you can set them to like once a week or whatever. But they can get them, and if they don't like them, they can shut them off too. Maybe the parents don't want to receive them. But I think I always liked using that, and I think it's a good way to kind of create some transparency. But also, like, if parents are getting a report of all the assignment you're doing and they get a email that has a red X next to every assignment their kid didn't get turned into them that week, I think that's a good thing to kind of have parents in on the loop of. Okay, so there's your settings. The grading workflow I don't want to go into too much, but since I don't even have any assignments that I can grade here, but Google is kind of changing the way that grading works, and while you're assessing work, you can go from file to file. You don't have to click off of one student onto another. You can also create comment banks, and I don't have an assignment here to show you how to do that, but man, if you want to do it and it looks really cool, just let me know. I'd be happy to come help you figure out how that works. It's going to say that is another thing that's going to save you a ton of time, and it will be awesome for you to use that in your classroom. Okay, let me make sure I've covered everything that I want to cover here. Oh, here's another good thing. So when you're on your Classwork page, you have up here calendar and class drive folder. So this Google Calendar, whenever you create a classroom, it automatically creates a Google Calendar now. So if I click on here, one of my calendars is going to be this class. So any assignments that are coming up that are due, here's language arts second hour. So if I go back in here and I go to the 5th, you'll see these are all assignments that are going to be due on that day for students in my class, but they're going to be on my calendar now. And the cool thing is they are also going to be on your students' calendar. So it's a good way to encourage your students to use their Google Calendar in place of more typical planner kind of thing. But all of them will have a calendar, and then it'll also give them alerts. Hey, this is due tomorrow at 4:30. Make sure it's finished. Blah blah blah. All that. The other thing is your class drive. So everything that's saved in your classroom, so all your students' assignments, all the assignments that you upload, all those things are going to be in this drive. So it's going to be really easy for you to find, old assignments you've done, old announcements you made, or even a student's particular assignment. You can go and open these. And like I said, I don't have students or any assignments on here, but that shared reading should have, oh, I don't have any students. So what that would have been is all the assignments that got copied to students, but I don't have any students in here because I don't have a class. So, but all of their work would be in there, and all of the stuff that you were working on that you had submitted previously would also be in there. I feel like I glossed over some of the stuff in Create, so let me talk about that really quickly, and then I'll preview a couple of new features, and then we'll be finished. So I talked about assignment. Another thing that you can add here are questions. Now, questions used to be a thing that kind of just filtered directly into the main page stream. Now you can add these to topics. So if I want this to be part of Ocean Report, and you can make, before I type the question, your options are short answer or multiple choice. So that's also a newer feature that didn't exist when Google Classroom was first released. So you can have students type up an answer, or you can have it be multiple choice. Who would win, shark or octopus? Okay, and we'll have that due today, and then we'll go ahead and let me get the questions in here, or the options in here for the answers, obviously, and ask. So in place of an assignment, you can just pop a question right in here. And if I go down to Ocean Report, here's that question: who to win, shark or octopus? Student clicks on that, they answer it, and then you get the data pops up right in here. The way you see it's going to be a little different than the way students see it, but you know, it's a good way if you want to do a quick assessment. Now, going back to what we said, what I said before in that settings tab, this could also be a place where students can comment on each other's stuff. If they do like a short answer, they could post a comment to go along with it, you know, things like that. Another thing that you can do here is, and I mentioned this briefly before, is to do a reuse a post. So if you click reuse post, it's going to ask you to go back in time a little bit to one of your old classes, and it's going to have all of the things that you have posted recently. So you look at mine, like all of my posts recently are from 2016, and this would go back into when I first started using Google Classroom like hundreds of years ago. But I know that I asked when we did this Annabelle Lee project back on April 5th, 2016, I really liked it. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click reuse. And it's immediately going to pull that out of my old 8th hour class. It's still got the resource attached. It's going to make a copy for each student. From here, all I got to do is come in here and figure out where it goes topic-wise, or maybe it's a new topic, or maybe I'm going to copy an entire topic that existed back before I had topics. So then I can just start popping that stuff in there that way. Click assign, and now I want you to think about how cool this is going to be, because if you start using Google Classroom, and let's not think of Google Classroom as a learning management system, but let's think of Google Classroom as a more of an assignment management system, right? Or a materials management system. If you use this last year, you don't have to ever make a copy again. You don't ever have to make post the directions again. You don't ever have to do any of that stuff. If you had that assignment last year just the way that you wanted it, all you got to do is go back to that class, hit reuse post, go back to that class last year, and click reuse, and then have it drag all of your stuff back from the dead into this year's class. Create a brand new version of what you know already works, so you don't have to like search through your drive to find that file, or search through your file cabinet to find the paper copy. Like, all that stuff's already going to be on there. You do it once this year, boom, you never have to do it again. Okay, Google Classroom, folks, there you have it. So I'm gonna pop back over here and wrap this stuff up. Hey everybody, it is me again. So that was like about a 30-minute overview of the new features in Google Classroom. Like I said, it really is better. There's just a couple of features that are missing that do make things a little bit frustrating, but the benefits of what Classwork does, getting you out of that stream, have everything being a big piled up mess, using Classwork to organize, making it easier for students to find stuff, and helping you keep stuff a little bit more organized so you know where to point students if they do need to find something. Along with that, being able to do that reuse post stuff, like, that is a game changer for a lot of people. I know for me, whenever I was teaching, I did reuse a lot of the same projects and a lot of the same resources year to year. I might teach them or talk about them a little bit differently, but if you, like I said, if you think about Classroom as more of a resource and material management system and not a learning management system, you can't beat it. It's so great, and you're gonna get save a ton of time and get a lot of value out of using those newer features that they added this year. Something that's coming that hasn't been added yet, and I'm really excited about it. It should be coming soon, is what we've heard in the trainers cohort, is they are making it so because I know a lot of people use Google Forms to create a quiz and kind of drop the quiz, just the link directly into your Google Classroom. So Google has announced that soon there will be a feature where, kind of like questions and assignments, you can make a forms quiz directly from inside of your classroom that also will lock your screen. like lock their screen out from going anywhere else. I don't know how that's going to work. But the idea is you can have a kid do a quiz, and one of your options will be to kind of lock them into that quiz so they can't like surf tabs, try to Google the answers, all that kind of stuff. And I know, like, you know, we don't all do questions that are Googleable, or maybe you don't like to use Google Forms or whatever, but this is going to give you another option. And something that has been asked before is, like, if I want to do a spelling test with Google Forms, how do I keep kids from just going to Google and searching the Google? Well, you can't. But if this happens, you would theoretically be able to do that. That would be an option for you. And you'd still have all the functions of forms with the data collection and being able to analyze it and create graphs and export it to a spreadsheet and all that stuff that makes your data teaming and data visualization a lot better and easier. But that hasn't happened quite yet. So as soon as that is released, you'll probably see an email or something from me where you'll learn a little bit more about those Google Forms being integrated directly into Classroom, and that'll be awesome. Okay, 10 minutes left. This is typically where I will shut up, and if there are any questions, comments, or anything you guys need to know, let her rip. If you guys don't have anything else, I will go ahead and let you finish up. So if you want to get the credit for this, a couple of things I'd like for you to do first. Please evaluate today's session. If you go back to the page from earlier where you landed on to attend today, click there to evaluate today's session. I know it was awesome, so please validate my high opinion of myself and the trainings that I provide to you free of charge, because I love you. And then just try something I talked about today and submit it to get your hour. So take the next, 15 minutes or so, use that Classwork tab, post something in there, use a material, take a screenshot of it, and drop it into that form, and boom, baby, you got Tech PD credit, 1 whole hour just for you. Okay, so that's all you got to do. Evaluation, submit something that you've done. I will be excited to see it, because I like to look at things like that. Call me a big old fashioned nerd. That's fine. Okay, if you sign in today, I'm gonna send you one of these stickers, FPS Ed Tech sticker. I'll be excited to see that on your Chromebook and or other laptop device of your choice. Yeah, so, and also, oh yeah, the thing earlier I was talking about doing badges with these instead of the pins. Some people really dig the pins, but if you would like to, like, if you get a badge and you'd like to stick it on the back of your Chromebook, I've gotten, I've heard maybe that would be something people would like to. So, let me know. And I'm going to sign off from the live stream now, but I would like to say one last time. Thank you guys for tuning in today. You are the true legends of Fulton Public Schools. You are the reason that our students are busting down these doors to get in here and learn stuff every day, because you take those few extra minutes at the end of your day to learn something new and interesting and help your students learn a little bit better. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad you were here. So yeah, I'm done. And hey guys, if you ever need technology, ever need anything, you want me to come in and teach your class, you can't think of anything to do that day, please let me come in and teach your class for you. I'd love to try use your class as some sort of technology guinea pig to try something new. So feel free. If you don't have anything going on the next couple weeks, you got a class you'd like to fill or something, email me. Let me come in and teach your class for you. You can go get a restroom break if you want. I won't tell anybody. It'll be our secret. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks and bye.